example 7.6 and 7.7. So start from okay. So I got my open loop system that I have 4 over s plus divided by s plus 4. So I got 2 pole locations at 0 and -4. That's my open loop, closed loop pole locations. And the answer for example 7.6, I think is 2s plus 9. That is my controller, right? I think that's the answer from Friday. So when we have this one, we're going to have our closed loop. I'll have something over here. So when we start to deal with the rollovers, what are we going to have? We have 2 poles, 1, 0. So and the overall angle is going to be what, -180. So what kind of a trajectory we're looking for? It's going to be towards to this direction. So if you do your locus, you're going to find I think it's going to be something like this. So this is going to be a locus of the system. Why we need to know the locus? We don't need to know the locus at all. But you need to know, since you space by your pole location, which is not, and you space by your 0 location of your controller, which is over here, then you start to deal with, I think it's it's not in scale, okay? So you space by your closed loop. Oh. Okay? So when you space by your pole, closed loop pole, and this is your locus, keep in mind those 2 points must lying on the locus. If you do not have those 2 on the trajectory, you're doing something wrong. Okay, so you can use locus, this command in your MATLAB program, and use your cursor, point to this one, and click that. You're going to find the K is going to be 2. When you put that, it's going to be I think this is negative. This is something you're looking for. Okay? If you use locus tool to verify your trajectory and you point to this one over here, you are not getting K equals to 2. When your answer is 2, then you're doing something wrong. Okay, and you're going to find this one is going to be located at -9. That is something you need to know. And that is something you have on your page 12. The first one is talking about example 7.6, and this is used to demonstrate how your K is going to look like and why this one must be along the locus. Okay, the next one, well, I'll show it, is talking about the same thing, but this time is talking about the feedback controller. I still have 0 and -4. And the other two I'm having is I got a pole 0 over here, which is -6. And I got one thing that is far away, like over here, -18. So if you draw your rule of us, how many poles we have? 3. How many 0 we have?
1.
So what kind of rule of us we're looking for? 180 divided by 3 minus 1, so it's going to be plus minus 90 degrees. So do you know how it's going to look like? We're going to have our closed-loop poles over here and over here, because this is right, and we say it must be 90 degrees. So we must have something like this. We must have something like this, right? Because I might be a little bit different over here, but when I start to draw the rule of us, it must pass through this point and this point, because that is what we designed for. If your rule of us does not pass this one, you're doing something wrong, because that's our design. And after you calculate for everything, you try to figure out what your rule of us is going to look like, or you're trying to solve the roots of your closed loop transfer function. This one and this one must be in your characteristic equation. If you fail to have those two in your characteristic equation, your answer is wrong. Make sense? Okay. So then if you use rule of us to do that and you put your mouse over here, you're going to find your k equals to about 30. Okay, if you put your cursor over here or over here, k must be equal to 30. That would be something you need to try a little bit when you are using MATLAB. No, I wouldn't be able to do a good job over here, but I'll try. So when you are doing your normally, I would say, those are not in scale, because the one in scale is in your notes. This one is lead lag. The blue one over here is PD. Typically, PD controller is going to be better than lead lag controller. Lead lag controller still have a little bit more overshoot than PD controller. You cannot avoid that because you kind of tune the roots a little bit. No. The denominator a little bit. So normally, lead lag controller cannot be as good as PD controller, but this is the best we can do to include the phenomena of PD, and that is a thing that we can design for. Because PD controller, though they are superior, but normally they cannot be implemented. So we have no choice but use lead lag controller. But keep in mind, this is worse than this one, but just a little bit. So when we are designing our controller, you need to use PD. Most of the time, do not use PD, use lead lag controller. Okay? That would be something I would like to introduce to you. So this part is not over. So the observation in your page 13. My CG on the other side is going to be what? 30 s plus 18 s plus 6 s plus 4 4. How much type we have over here? Type 0, type 1, type 2, type 3, type 1. And so 9. Without saying anything, what is my unit step steady state error? 0. How about unit ramp? We are going to have 1 over kV, and kV is going to be limit s goes to 0, s cancel these parts. So this is 1/3 and this is 0.4. So what we're going to get is, sorry, this is 4. So this one over here is going to be 10. So if you are having your unit rep with the controller we have over here, this would be error for unit step, unit ramp. Any question? Okay, so those are the things that you might need to know when you are using your lead controller. One thing important for this thing is when you are designing your lead controller, you also need to consider whether you're dealing with unit step or unit rep input. Because if you want to have 0 steady state error, you need to consider whether you have to include integrator in your controller, because if you are dealing with unit rep, obviously, no matter what you do, your lead controller cannot do its job. Only when you are adding another integrator in your system, otherwise your system is always including one steady state error. So those are things you need to know when you are designing a controller. Everything still have its own limitation. Okay. Another thing that I would like to talk about, I have been talking about lead lag controller, and I say this type of controller is K, S plus Z, S plus P. By observing the controller I designed earlier, which number is larger? P is larger or Z is larger? P. P is larger. I mean, numerical wise, this one is larger, which means this one is faster. That is our lead term comes from. So when I say I have a lead, I must have a leg. So for a leg controller, we still have our controller look like the same. But Z will be larger than P. Well, the value of Z and P are small compared to omega n because Z is greater than P. The phase is negative corresponding to a phase. And sometimes, if you look at your textbook, since we have Z and P over here, in some of the textbook, you're going to see S plus beta, S plus alpha, S plus gamma, and alpha is greater than beta. Leg controller. And this type of a controller is specific one because when we have leg controller, normally we are not trying to affect the system dynamics, which means if I desire the system to be like 90 degree up and down, and we try not to affect anything. But if we have something, so if those two are the dominant system, however, if you have something over here which is extremely slow, and this is definitely something we want to get rid of in the system, and for some reason we have designed a controller that tune everything perfectly, but need to take care of this one, and we fail to do something like that. So what we're going to do is to put things around this part and attract this one locally. I know this is weird. Let me think how I explain that. So this pole over here is a very slow one, right? And it will drag everything to be too small. So in that case, we want to make this pole to be faster. Then we can put one pole and one zero over here as a pair. So we know when this pole zero, we just draw that on the other side, it becomes a circle, right? So this is a phenomenon. It's something you need to know when you draw in the locus. So one is going to be attracted to this one, and the other one is going to be attracted to zero. So that this one, the phenomena of this pole is going to be cancelled, and everything is going to be toward a faster part. Does it make sense? So the system response is going to be faster than we desire, which means if we can put a pair of those things to be around the pole over here, then we can kind of accelerate the response of the pole over here. Does that make sense to everybody? Is that clear? You don't know what I'm talking about, raise your hand. Okay.